Max Verstappen bounced back in Suzuka, meaning the Formula One Drivers' Championship is finally within reach for the Dutchman during the upcoming sprint weekend in Qatar. So it's time to tell you everything you need to know about this weekend's racing. And of course, stick around to the end to hear my predictions for what's going to happen. But this is only the second time that we've held a race in Qatar after its debut in 2021. Although Gunther Steiner recently did say that the 2021 race felt like it was rushed together quite quickly and a lot of the facilities weren't 100% completed. Hopefully that's not the case come the 2023 race, but it did play a huge part in the incredible Hamilton-Verstappen championship battle, with actually Lewis Hamilton taking the victory, Max Verstappen coming in second, and Fernando Alonso getting a podium whilst he was still at Alpine. This weekend is a sprint weekend in Qatar and could actually see Max Verstappen pick up his third world championship on a Saturday, which might be quite weird to watch. Obviously, they've still got to get the car prepared for the Sunday, but they'll want to celebrate the championship. It will all be a bit strange, but it does mean that we have qualifying on the Friday, a separate sprint shootout and sprint race on the Saturday, and then the main event, the Grand Prix itself, comes Sunday. The Qatar Grand Prix itself will see 57 laps of the 5.419km Lusail circuit come Sunday, with one DRS zone down the main straight, which will be the main overtaking opportunity because there's not actually that many hard braking zones. There's a lot of high speed corners throughout the 16 corners of the Lusail circuit, and with the track having very modern runoff areas rather than the grass and gravel that we see at some of the other Grand Prix, I feel like track limits is going to be a big talking point come this weekend, and so is tyre degradation. High speed corners as well as high track temperatures, thermal degradation and tyre wear is going to be high, so Pirelli have opted for the harder of the tyres available, the soft C3, the medium C2 and the hard C1. Although even with the harder tyres, I feel like the optimal strategy come race day is still going to be a two-stop strategy using mainly medium and hard compound tyres for those three stints, and that's if they've got enough tyres left after all the competitive running this weekend in incredibly high temperatures, as you would expect from a race in the desert, but every single session above 30 degrees throughout the weekend, even with the race being at night, in particular on Sunday, 34 degrees during the race. And actually, I'm more worried about the sprint shootout because that has to be slightly earlier on the Saturday, temperatures possibly reaching between 36 and 38 degrees during that sprint shootout. So that's going to be incredibly hard on the drivers. Although the Constructors' Championship was sewn up by Red Bull and Suzuka, the battle for second place between Ferrari and Mercedes is really starting to heat up, along with the battle for fourth place actually. Aston Martin were kind of second for so long, dropped behind Mercedes, dropped behind Ferrari, and now McLaren with this uptick whilst Aston Martin continue to fall. I think fourth place could be taken by the McLaren team within the next couple of races. Williams should be quick this weekend, so they'll probably solidify themselves in that seventh place stance. And then Haas, Alfa Romeo and AlphaTauri are all just looking for one really solid result to make sure that they get that eighth place finish really. Then we move over to the Drivers' Championship. The drivers' standings will likely be sealed officially during the sprint on Saturday, although I feel like we've all known Max Verstappen was going to win this driver's title for a little while now. Although Fernando Alonso has gone from battling for second or even third place in the Drivers' Championship to now just fending off the likes of Carlos Sainz, Charles Leclerc, possibly even Lando Norris and George Russell, and it doesn't get better for Aston Martin when Lance Stroll is also falling behind the likes of Oscar Piastri. Gasly and Ocon look ready to pounce as well. Both of the Aston Martins just falling like a stone through all of the championship standings at this moment in time. So when it comes to my predictions, I have gone for McLaren as my main winners. I just see their continued upturn in form continuing to get better and better. They just look so fast over the course of this season. The car is also so smooth through high-speed corners now that this track really does suit that McLaren car. And post the win in Singapore, I'm also on the Ferrari hype train. I just think Charles Leclerc has been on the podium for all of the sprints so far this year. Ferrari absolutely love a sprint weekend, and their car just looks stronger and stronger, especially since Monza onwards. They've just taken steps forwards from the summer break and made that Ferrari look a lot better to drive. And then when it comes to my losers, I can only see this season getting worse for Aston Martin. As I mentioned in my constructors and drivers standings, Alonso seems to have finally cracked a little bit and feels a little bit less chill with the poor performances from the Aston Martin car. I think he was hoping it was maybe going to get better after the summer break, and it really hasn't. And the car just really doesn't suit this track. I could see them being 6th fastest or even 7th fastest, especially if Albon can hook up that Williams this weekend. And my final loser, I just feel like Mercedes, because That inter-team battle, I've just got a feeling that it's going to come to a head this weekend. Lots of discussions around the last two races with both cars getting in each other's way, really. You know, we talked about whether Lewis Hamilton could have won in Singapore if George Russell wasn't there, and the fact that George Russell held up Lewis Hamilton a little bit in Japan, and whether or not he'd have been able to catch Charles Leclerc. I just feel like it's going to come to a head. We've got those two cars getting closer and closer to each other every single lap, and I don't know, I just think they're dangerously close and they could possibly cause each other some damage. So when I was putting together my podium, I was so close to putting somebody other than Max Verstappen, but I just feel like Max will win the championship with a little bit of a flourish this weekend. Lando Norris is still using his experience and still getting the edge over Oscar Piastri. I think they're very, very close in qualifying, but Lando Norris come race day, I think will have the edge. So I've put him as my McLaren representing them on the podium. And since the summer break, I would say that Carlos Sainz has been one of the best drivers on the track, possibly the best driver on the track, and therefore I'm backing him to overcome his teammate too and pick up another podium finish. Although I will premise all of this with the fact that Sergio Perez should be on this list. I think Sergio Perez should easily finish in second place, but he's going for a little bit of a tough time with that Red Bull car again at this moment, so I've kind of dropped him behind, although if he does finish on the podium, I can understand why he should be there. Let me know your predictions in the comments down below, though. Who do you think is going to be on the podium this weekend? Who are your winners? Who are your losers? And which cars are you really excited to see around this Qatar circuit? Also, I put together this video here, which is about the Red Bull Driver Academy and the problem that I've got with it going forward. So click that link and I'll see you over there.